Hi friends and daddy gang, welcome back to Nobody Knows Podcast, and today we are teaching you how to gluck gluck. Ticketmaster, yes, that is right.
I can't. Hi, Bren. How's it going?
Hey, good, how are you?
I'm great. Obviously, I just saw you like 20 minutes ago, but for anybody listening, welcome back to Nobody Knows Podcast. Obviously, we have a guest, Bren, my boyfriend. If you follow us on socials, then you'll know that we went spontaneously to the Eras tour last week, night one. If you can believe, we did not have tickets. We got them super last minute. It was a hell of a story, so that's what we want to recap on here today. But if this is your first time listening, well, you've certainly picked an interesting episode to listen to for the first time. But welcome, hello, and thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Juliana, and I'm a 29-year-old who has consistently felt lost in life, like I've always been behind as I navigated my 20s. Bren, how old are you?
I'm 34, and also have felt lost and behind, but have found out that you're never lost or behind. You were just finding your way.
It's beautifully said. Wow, love. I created Nobody Knows to share my experiences and advice in hopes that we can relate to one another and to normalize that we're all just doing our best to find our way. And we also have guests on here, hint, hint, to spice things up with a different perspective, knowledge, and expertise of figuring it all out. And if you have been loving this podcast, make sure you're following on Apple Pods, YouTube, and Spotify. And lastly, I would love your feedback for Nobody Knows Podcast. And the best way to show your support is either through a 5-star review on either listening platform. And I must say, yesterday I checked out reviews and ratings, and there's so many wonderful reviews on there. I think on Spotify we have over 30 ratings, which is pretty kick-ass, and I think on Apple Pods it's up to 12, but there's also 5 ratings on there where people have written reviews, where people have written really nice comments. So thanks to anyone who has done that, and if you haven't yet, I would really appreciate it if you feel inclined to. Okie dokie. So, Bren, I don't even know where we should start this off because I feel like it's been a long time coming. No pun intended.
Yeah, it actually started in August of 2023 of trying to get these tickets. So, it has been almost 400 days of agony.
Well, it's just been, it's ebbed and flowed because last year you had to sign up for Verified Fan through Ticketmaster, and that in and of itself was a battle. I think we signed up all 3 of our accounts, but 2 of them got waitlisted. I think that's what they're saying, or what it's calling it. Yeah. But the one account, your mom's account, got through and was like an official Verified Fan and received one of those codes.
And the day that they went on sale, we were actually in London, and I had to drive to Boots and Hearts, so I didn't even have a chance to get in there.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember this. It feels like it was so long ago that I don't even remember. Did your mom try? I feel like your mom tried.
Yeah, and she couldn't get in. So,
which is so maddening. It's so stupid when, first off, you have a code. Like, you can get in to purchase tickets, but you can't even get tickets. That's what is like a true piss off. It's like, why even bother giving us a code? It's like dangling the carrot.
But it's also crazy to get a code because 31 million people signed up for these 6 concerts in Toronto.
No, for sure. Grateful, but it's like, I almost wish we didn't receive it if we weren't going to get tickets. Like, they should have just given the amount of codes for the amount of tickets that they were selling so people were guaranteed to get tickets, not have to battle it out and get all excited about getting a code and then not even be able to get tickets. That's just you get your hopes up.
Truly the Great War.
So, okay, so let's do the math there. So you said, 31 million people signed up for, the Verified Fan stuff?
Yeah.
And there were 70,000, isn't Rogers Center have 70,000?
50. So it's
good grief.
Yeah, so what's that, almost 300,000 people?
Just nowhere close to even a million. That's bonkers. Holy moly.
It's insane. The power Taylor has.
Yes, she is very iconic and very powerful. That's for sure. Then I think we went through last year of we kind of didn't forget about it, but it wasn't as prolific because the Eras tour took forever to get to Toronto. These are her last shows, and she's been on tour for 2 years?
Yeah, almost about that. Yeah, it started in, I think, March of 2023.
Yeah, so last year when we didn't get the Verified Fan, we were okay, we'll figure out another way. Like we were delusional. I mean, not really, but we were delusional believing that we were going to get tickets somehow, some way. It wasn't like etched in stone that like, oh, this is not going to be a possibility for us. So we kind of like went about our lives. And then this past year, I feel like in the past month, no? Like
Maybe for you, but deep down, every week I was
every
checking.
day, babe. Every
Yeah,
day
pretty
you were
much.
like waking up being like, can I get Taylor Swift tickets? Will today be the
Yeah.
day?
Yeah, and every day it said these tickets are offline, and I'm just like, well, there's hope. It doesn't say sold out.
For sure. But I also feel like specifically for the Toronto shows, if you wanted to go like to Europe or like to the States, that was a different story. But I feel like for the Toronto shows, it was very much like last year was the main drop, and then we haven't really heard anything up until like the past few weeks about getting tickets. Like I don't know anyone who was like in August of this year like, "Oh, I got tickets." Like nobody
No,
could get tickets.
no, but they did, like, Ticketmaster had a glitch where it said there was adding a Sunday show, and that was just fake,
False
I guess.
information. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's super irritating.
even though it was on their website, which is crazy.
That's weird.
Hmm.
It's very bizarre. Let's flash forward to this year and maybe we'll review like the past few weeks
Okay.
of leading up to the show.
Yeah.
Why don't you start it off because you were the driving force in all of this. You wanted to get tickets and I was going to help you do whatever you could to get tickets to see Taylor Swift. You are
Yeah.
the bigger Swiftie in this relationship. I respect it. Where do we start off this year?
So I think this kind of really starts about 2 weeks ago because, like, there was no ticket drops up until I think it was the Monday or Tuesday of the week before the actual concert, and we were sitting in a parking lot. I was waiting for you, and I saw like the queues had opened, and so like I was like, I gotta go. Like, so I jumped in there, and it was like these seats are protected. Like, you have to have verified fan to get in, and like I was like, oh, I should. Like, we got a code on the one account, and then like people that didn't have a code back then were starting to get in, and like I think that was probably the biggest drop of tickets. So like it was almost defeating in a sense, but like that's when the whole mania started again.
Right, of like, okay, this is our shot to get tickets and we need to be on high alert any chance like they drop or else this is the last ditch effort essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that was the week before the first weekend of Eras in Toronto.
Yeah, and it was only really that one day that they dropped, and then like I feel like everybody was on high alert every single day after that until the next drop, but it was almost like a week until that. So it was
Right.
very stressful.
For sure, yeah, that is stressful. And then I remember we talked to Jill, my friend, who is also a massive Swiftie, and went to France. She went to the, what is it, Lyon show in France, however many years ago. What was that, last summer? Or
Yeah,
this past summer? Honestly, I can't even keep
this
my
summer.
years straight. Yes, this past summer. She went there, so she knew some of like the nuances or ways to get tickets, but also getting the tickets in Europe versus getting them in the States versus getting them in Canada with Ticketmaster is completely different. Like there's so
Yeah.
many different rules and guidelines. So she helped us sort of give us an idea of like when the next drop would happen, and it was all based on like when the stage was going to get built. And this is moving into last Monday, so like about a
Yeah.
week ago, where she was like, the next drop is going to be happening once they've built out the stage a little bit more. So here we are on our ends being like, okay, well, when do you think the stage is going to be built? Is it going to be built like now, like halfway through Monday, end of Monday night, into Tuesday? And I remember we were at an event on Tuesday. We were in Toronto. And I
Yeah.
messaged her being like, when are they going to go on sale? This is so frustrating. And she's like, the stage hasn't been fully built yet. They're probably going to go on sale tomorrow now, which is also so irritating.
Yeah, and we also had another event that night on the Wednesday, so it's like, what do we
Yes.
do here? Like,
Yes. So stressful.
and the crazy thing is, if you go online, there's trackers of like at the exact time these tickets have dropped on which night, if it's a day before, the day before, the day before, and it's like people know when these tickets are dropping because they have it all mapped out, and it's like it's still like even knowing when you think they're gonna drop, it's like all day you're checking.
Wait, who are these trackers? You didn't tell me about these.
Oh yeah, people have like these lists of like Miami when like it dropped the day before, Indy, and like what times it dropped and like which nights dropped. It's pretty crazy. I'm gonna show you.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know anything about that. So then we get to Wednesday and we're trying to plan out our day, which for the amount of stress we were under, I would say we fought a little bit. Like we argued just because of the high stress and the high stakes. I think this is the most we've been under pressure together for like things that are like just so high stakes that we just want to make sure we do it properly.
Other than the time we went to the escape maze and you made me wear 2 shock collars because you were too scared. So that was pretty high stakes.
That wasn't super high stakes for me. But yes, it was very stressful. And I know we were trying to figure out our schedule for the Wednesday. And we had 2 events Wednesday evening at like 6 o'clock and then 9 o'clock. And I remember asking, okay, what time do you want to go tomorrow on Tuesday night? And you're like, let's go around like noon. And I'm like, why are we going to drive when it takes us an hour and a half, 2 hours to get into Toronto so that we can be in Toronto for 2 when our events are at 6? They start at 6. And I remember us sort of bickering about that and the fact that you wanted to see if you could get tickets because Rogers was also giving away free tickets in the city. And then 2, because you wanted to get merch and just sort of stake out and see if you could get any opportunity to get tickets, as well as not be on the road while the tickets potentially dropped.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a little touch and go there for a second because like I wanted to be there and you're like, but like we eventually compromised and we got up there. We got up there early and you did not like hanging out in the cold.
I just didn't understand what we were doing. I just didn't understand in the moment what we were doing. I understand it now.
Yeah.
But that's something we need to work on with in terms of communication. Like, if you want to do this, let's do it. That's great. But I need to know why we're standing out in front of the Rogers Center when Taylor comes in like 3 days, 2 days.
I mean, it's probably me. I am not very good with directions. I think I've told you.
I think it was fine to do, except you got all these security guards on the outside of the Rogers Center, like staring at you, kind of like giving you the side eye of like, why are you just standing there? You know, I'm sure they're on high alert for like any mischief or any like weird behavior. So I felt bizarre just standing there, as well as we weren't getting in the merch line. And it was also freezing. It wasn't cold temperature, it was just so windy that it was really brisk and crisp on the skin.
I think my like compromise to you was like I would wait out in 45-degree weather for Gaga for you, and if we got in the GA pit that way.
Right.
But yeah, so
well, let's manifest that. Let's manifest that for sure. Not the weather.
No.
But the pit.
No, nobody wants soggy underwear for a concert.
No, that's gross. So we were waiting around the Rogers Center, and then we finally, what did we do? Like cut our losses, I think, and then we went and got some merch.
Yeah, and then just said, let's go eat because we hadn't had lunch. And
right, yeah, that was the other thing too, is me waiting outside when I've not been fed. Like, just really stressful, and it's like you have 30 minutes before I turn into a raging bitch.
You?
Oh. But back to the merch, because I think people going this week should go on like Wednesday or non-show days, because they do sell the merch on the non-show days, right? That's what I gathered.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go than going on the show day. I mean, obviously do what you can. Some people are just driving in the same day. But if you have a hotel and you're already there earlier, wait on another day, because then you don't have to be all stressed about getting to the concert venue on time, waiting in the lines to get in, then waiting at merch, then if you want to get drinks, food, if you want to find your seat properly. Like, it's just holy moly. There's a lot of things to do on the agenda. And I feel like the merch tent is also like very large. It takes a while. You want to make sure you're getting what you want. Trying things on. Can you try things on at the merch tent?
I have no idea. It was so packed, so I just
grabbed it and went. Yeah. Right, yeah. Well, I would just say go on a non-show day, because the line took us, 10 minutes?
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
I mean, also you're not going to be able to get the blue crew neck if you go unless you line up early mornings of the non-show days, because I think that they do replenish their stock.
Restock today.
Okay, well, a little late, but I feel like if you don't really care about the blue crew neck or any of like the really prized possession pieces or anything like that, then just go on a non-show day, because it was so easy peasy. We were like in and out in 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was good. Pretty clean, pretty smooth, in and out.
Then we went to our, like you said, we had food and we went to your events. Why don't you tell us what happened at the event, Bren?
Well, so the company was hosting it on my behalf. It was World Kindness Day, and it was funny. We were building boxes for the shoebox project, and they stopped it, and we're like, we want to say a few words. And then all of a sudden, I feel my watch go off, and I look down at it, and it's like the queues are open. I'm like, of course. And I had mentioned this. I'm like, this is gonna happen. Like, I'm standing beside you. I'm like, the queues are open. And then so like we tried to get on, but it turned out it was a false alarm. But like it caused chaos because we're like, we gotta get in.
Well, and you're at an event with your
Yeah.
laptop open, which is a little bit unprofessional.
I mean, I could have been checking my notes of what I had to film. I had that
Fair.
page open too.
Fair, fair.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
no, unideal time for that to
no,
launch.
it happened. It was a false alarm, but still, the panic. You're like, they're finally open. You're like, we've been waiting a week for this, and here it is, and it's a false
Right.
alarm. Yeah.
And I want to go back to what you said about you kind of manifested that they would drop at the time when you were going to be not able to get on. Because
hmm
before we also even went to Toronto, I said, we need to manifest this. We need to manifest that you are going to go to the concert with me or without me. If you only get one ticket, if someone else gets tickets and they only have one ticket, you're going to go. Like, you gotta envision yourself in the arena listening to Taylor Swift. And we did like this exercise. And I don't know about you, but I literally did the exercise on my own when I went to yoga, when I was on my own and had a few minutes to make sure that you were going to get there and believe that you were going to get your ass at the Eras Tour.
I did it once,
And it
and I
worked.
pictured myself front row.
Okay, well, we need to be somewhat realistic with our manifestations, but maybe that will still happen in the future.
Maybe.
Maybe. But all I'm saying is that you manifested that the tickets would drop when you were indisposed or unable to get to the laptop at your event, and that happened. And then also we manifested that you would get to the concert, and that worked too. So I do believe we manifested this whole thing. That false drop happened at your event, and then we were obviously on a high, kind of a low. It's a weird mix of emotions because it's like an adrenaline high, but you're disappointed. So like you feel really, really low or like defeated, but you're still like excited and like hopped up. So you're wrapping up that event, and then we had to head over to another event that was like around the block, like a couple blocks away.
It was about an 11-minute drive from where our event was, and I said to you as we're walking to the car, I'm like, I don't want to drive right now because I know tickets are going to drop. And you're like, no, it's close. Like, just drive. Like, get us there and we can get into the event and just kind of go home after it. We're like 900 meters away from this event while I'm driving, and I get a message that says queues are open.
In
Uh,
downtown Toronto.
yeah. And like the laptop is like in between us as we're driving, and
No, no,
we just
no, no. No, I told you, you hadn't even opened your laptop yet. I said pull over to the
oh
side and where the taxi like queue is. Pull over,
yeah.
put your four ways on, whip it out, and then we can hop on. So I was like, there's no way we're driving in downtown Toronto while you have your laptop open. What are you, like a police officer with your full on laptop on your front seat? So then, and we were quick, like 20 seconds had passed. We pulled over and you whipped out the laptop. And what was the number that we were in the queue at?
I was like 700 on that one. Like that was the quickest I'd got to it.
Yeah.
But I had made a mistake because I jumped on my phone and my laptop.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah.
And we had Thursday, Friday, and Saturday dates all open on the laptop, and then you were also on your phone browser. And from doing these ticket drops, how many times did we do these ticket drops? Like 5 times?
About 5, 6 times.
Yeah, we noticed that one, you can only be on one or one device, so either your phone or your laptop. But we've determined that the laptop's better because it's just a bigger screen, easier to click around. The phone is just so small and like difficult to use if you need to act quickly. So the laptop is the best device to be on. And then also we've noticed that if you're about to get into the area to buy tickets, you just need to be in one queue. You can't be in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They can't be in all the dates or else that's what we noticed, no?
No, that turned out to be false. It's because I joined 2 queues on the same date.
On your device.
Yeah.
Okay. I also feel like it is risky to join all the different dates and then go through to buy tickets. Like the instructions, if you read on the queue page, it's like only have one tab open. So technically we had 3 tabs open with 3 different dates. I just feel like it's not worth it to even risk it.
But shout out Gil. I asked her and she's like, no, it's fine. So like,
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that was after.
Use at your discretion. If you want to
Yeah.
try to get what you can, pick a date and stick with it. I feel like Ticketmaster prioritizes that. It definitely doesn't kick you out in that instance. It just, if there's no tickets, then there's no tickets and you're not in any other queue for any of the other days. But I'm just like too careful. I feel like it's almost greedy in a sense to have all the 3 dates open. I know everyone's trying to just get what they can, but like you got to pick a date and stick with it.
That's the thing, though. Like, you just never know. And it's just
Of course not. But it's chaos, is what it is. So we were on the side of the road in Toronto trying to get tickets for for all 3 nights, trying to figure it out. And this was like the major drop that was going to happen once the stage was built. So explain what happened as we're getting through the queues, love.
we got that first date open. We got it for the Thursday night, and it's counting down. You're like, my friends are going to other dates. I'm like, I just want to go to a date here.
I know. This is what I'm saying, though, is because we all had to plan. All the girls had a plan of like what dates that they could go to. Because I'm trying to get you tickets, but I'm also trying to make sure that my friends can get tickets, and none of them could go to the Thursday show. Well, they probably could. They could probably drop everything, but they have work. You know, they have lives, like, and they're not based in Toronto, so it would have been a lot harder to go to Toronto than going to Friday or Saturday. So I was always of the mindset, if we can get more than 2 tickets, or we can get more than 1 ticket even, and people need to go, let's try for Friday or Saturday. But when you hopped on, you clicked on Thursday first, so that made us earlier in the queue compared to like Friday or Saturday. So that's all I was saying when I was telling you that.
Yeah.
Was that I would have said we should have clicked on Friday or Saturday first to get in that queue earlier, so that if we had the potential to get more tickets for any of my friends, then they would have been for sure able to go.
Yeah. No, for sure. It starts counting down. Like, we're like 50 away. I got the video camera set up in the car, so like to record our reactions once we get in there, and all of a sudden we get down to 1, and I'm like, oh. And then all of a sudden it says, you're on too many devices. You've been put back to the end of the queue.
Like, so annoying.
I bet you we would have got tickets at that time just because we were in there so quickly. And that was probably the most defeating for me at that point. I was probably the most angry. I'm like, this is not going to happen. Like,
you were not okay.
No.
You were like so mad at yourself. But we also had Friday and Saturday open still, right?
Yeah.
But we were higher in the queue there. I think we were in like the thousands for those. And we like went through those. And those took a while to get through. It took at least like 30 minutes or more than that to get through those. This is the other thing that I really hate too, is that Ticketmaster will glitch out. So like you'll get through the queue and then it will say, it won't say there's no more tickets left, but it will have the option to like click your drop down of 1 ticket, 2 ticket, 3 ticket, 4 ticket. So you click those and then sometimes tickets will pop up. So you click on them and then you go to check out and then it says those tickets are no longer available. And then you'll go back to the screen of buying tickets and you'll do 1 ticket. Go back to 2 tickets. 2 tickets are available. And it's the same tickets that you just tried to grab before, but they don't go away. So you think that tickets are still there. I would love it if it could just say you don't have any more tickets, because then you sit there toggling you could toggle forever until like finally that pop-up comes up. Sometimes it never comes up of saying there's no more tickets, of just like trying to grab those tickets. So that's really infuriating and like kind of a dangerous game because you could toggle forever.
Yeah, and I think the other crazy part is what we learned is if you click refresh, sometimes like more tickets come up, but like if it's so nerve-wracking clicking refresh because you're like, that's going to put me out of the queue. And like people have said they refreshed and then got tickets because there was more there.
And I will confirm we did refresh and it just kept us in the to buy ticket section. It didn't pop us out of the queue. So if you are in that situation, you can refresh. But yeah, that was the most irritating thing of seeing the tickets and oh my God, you get excited and then they're not available. It's like, dear Lord, that drove me nuts. You did that, I think, for a solid 40 minutes one time of just like going back and forth. Actually, I think through Twitter and also through Jill and like everyone that we determined there were no more tickets, like the drop had been cleared out. So we go to that event really defeated. frustrated. Everyone also is like talking about the Eras tour. Like some people got tickets, some people still didn't get tickets. I think the majority of the people there did not have tickets, but we were just like so down and defeated.
And at least you could have a drink to take the edge off. I had to drive
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, that's true. I did have several drinks because that was some tough times. But yeah, so we got home. Then the next morning, I think I slept in, and like as I was in bed, like waking up, we were talking about like, okay, well, like if we have to look at resale sites eventually, we can do that. But then all of a sudden you got a ping on your phone. You're like, the queues have opened again.
Yeah, I think the craziest part was I had just got out of bed after talking about that, and I was walking down the hallway. My laptop was sitting on the kitchen table, and my watch went off. I'm like, queues are open. And I just turned, and it was right there for me. And I'm like, we're in. We're in.
Yeah. So this is the day of the first night of the Eras tour, Thursday. And you got on the queue, and I think you did the same thing. You did Thursday, Friday, Saturday again, but you only did it on the one device. We were learning from our mistakes from the night before. But then I think we started yelling at each other again, didn't we? Because I was like, you can't do several nights in a row.
Yeah, you're like, close the queues, close the queues. I'm like, no, I know how to do this. And it got down to like one. You're like, close the other ones, close the other ones. So I'm like,
Yeah.
begrudgingly, I did because like I wouldn't hear the end of it if I didn't. And I'd probably be mad at myself if I did and that happened again.
Right.
But I got in and then there was no tickets left. And then I go click on the other dates and we're at the back of the queue again because
Right.
like we had to
Yes.
close the other ones.
Moral of the story, probably just open all the, if you're going to try to get Thursday, Friday, or Saturday this week, just have all of those open, but just on one device.
One. Yeah. And one page each.
Yes. Okay, so then we could not get tickets for that. The same thing was happening.
Yeah,
The
this was at,
glitch
like,
of
10
like,
a.m.
yes, the glitch of like, there are tickets available, click on it, the tickets are no longer available. Go back to toggle, all of that bullshit. So that again was defeating. At this point, I was like, I know we're going. Like I can feel it that we're going, but I feel like we're not going Thursday night for whatever reason. It just didn't feel like we would do that or that we could get tickets for that. So like I went to yoga. I went and did like some errands. You, I think, were still at home like all day just waiting for more drops. Were there, how many other drops on Thursday were there? Two others?
Yes, and that was probably my saving grace of you going to yoga because the next drop opened up when you were gone, and I'm just
Right.
like, I can do whatever I want right now. So I'm boom, boom, boom.
Right. I remember getting out of yoga and you and Jill, we had like a three-way chat. You were talking to her. I had like 50 messages when I came out of yoga, which also I was like so relaxed, rejuvenated, and then like my cortisol just probably spiked getting out of there because the queue had opened like 3 minutes before my class ended. So I came out to all of these messages of like, queue's open. Are you in? I'm this number. What number are you in? What date are you in? Like so stressful. I think I got us lunch or something, and it took me a while to get home. And when I got home, you were still in the queue for that one. That took a really long time. And again, you couldn't get tickets for that either.
Yeah, no, it came up right when it let me in on both pages or all three pages, and each one said tickets are sold out for every single day. So I was like, I didn't even get a chance to get in there.
Right. And like going back to the Wednesday night of when they dropped for the first one that we got into the Thursday show. Oh my gosh, can I speak? We were 700th in that queue and we could not get tickets, which is like, how many tickets would they have dropped? If we were 700th and we did not get tickets, like they must have dropped like 200 tickets or something like they must have dropped a stupid amount, like so small amount of tickets so that like person in 700th in the queue couldn't even get tickets, which is also infuriating. Like why even drop those? Why not just lump them into the next drop where there's like a larger number?
Yeah, I think it's like their way of like trying to like deter the bots, but like bots are still getting these.
And that's another thing that was such a piss off. You would get in the queue or whatever, and eventually the drop would be over, and then you go on StubHub or like the resell sites, and then you'd see 500 new tickets added. Like all of these bots or all of these resells are just clearly sweeping the entire drops, taking practically the majority of the tickets, and then you go and see them, and they're like $5,000 for one ticket. Just so ridiculous. So then I
Yeah.
got home from yoga on the Thursday. And I think you had like your meetings and you were chatting with everyone about like trying to get tickets. I think people you were talking to on your meetings were also trying to get tickets.
Yeah, they were like, I've never seen you so disheveled. And I'm like, it hurts. This hurts.
Serious. Well, we got to do what we got to do in order to get the tickets. And like, if for whatever reason you can't have a shower, so be it.
Gotta get an Octobuddy and put it right in there.
Seriously. Okay, so then we came home, and then the day went on, and this is also when we were talking more seriously about we need to go, or like at least you need to go. So let's actually consider how much we would want to drop on a resale ticket or tickets and monitor StubHub.
Hmm.
And I feel like in the late afternoon, I was like monitoring StubHub, and like they were slowly dropping, but they were still like $2,000 per ticket.
Yeah.
There were a few that were like 1900 that were in like decent spots in the arena, but still $1,900 for one ticket.
Yeah. I think in my mind, I had said I would probably pay 1,000. That's so crazy to say for like a concert, but like I feel like it's like a once in a lifetime like thing, but like also that's a lot of money, like especially around Christmas time.
It's so hard because you are a ride or die Swiftie, and you've seen her years and years ago when she was like just starting, but you have wanted to go to this concert since it even got announced. And you've also wanted to see her anyways, right? Like you've said that
Yeah.
before. It doesn't matter that it was Eras tour. I feel like when you say in the grand scheme of things or in the context of Taylor Swift you're dropping 1,000, like that is actually not a lot of money considering how many people are dropping tens of thousands of dollars for tickets, hotels, merch, anything, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not talking about Taylor Swift and you're just like, oh yeah, I spent $1,000 on a concert ticket, like, are you okay? That is ridiculous. I think the max I've spent on a concert ticket is like $250. I just could not imagine spending $1,000 on a ticket.
No, I think my most was like 600, but that was like because you were already going and it was across the street, and I'm like, I just kind of want to be there.
Right. That was also a last minute situation too. So then we were talking about like Resell, StubHub, if it would be worth it. We determined that if they were like $1,000 a piece, that we would do it, but nothing more than that would really be, I don't want to say worth it, but just within our budget. We
Yeah.
weren't prepared to spend more than that. And then what I think is funny and what ties into the rest of the theme of this story is that everything worked out perfectly for us. And this is why I want to tie it back to us manifesting this, like believing that this was meant to be, because everything that happened the rest of Thursday night went perfectly to plan. I have never planned or could imagine planning something so perfectly. And I like to plan things. For the day that we get married or whatever, whenever that happens, I would love things to go according to schedule the way that Thursday night went for us. Like it
Yeah.
was chef's kiss. So it's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I think. And I came downstairs and I was like, you know what? I've been thinking about if we do go to the concert, like what outfit I would wear. Like I have some things from like Danica, my friend's bachelorette, when we went to Nashville. Like those items were like all bejeweled and bedazzled and stuff. I feel like that would look great for like the Eras tour because I didn't think I was going, so of course I didn't plan an outfit. Everything was in storage. So I went downstairs, grabbed things out of storage, grabbed a few pieces and brought them back upstairs and like was trying them on and like kind of like piecing things together, but not like really planning anything, but just like getting them out in case we needed to book it quick or like go. And then I think I was on StubHub and we were FaceTiming, I think. Was that how it went down?
Yeah. And the queue's open.
Yes. And you're like, oh my God, the queue's opened. And so we hop on again. And I think you only clicked on Thursday, or did you click on all of them?
No, I clicked on all of them, and I was supposed to leave for another event, and I got in, and two of them were moving pretty quickly. The Thursday was the one I was the highest in, and it was moving very slow.
Like
And
highest, sorry to interrupt you, love. Like
highest
highest
like
in
number
like,
in the queue.
got it.
And the Friday Saturday went through really quickly, and it was like these are sold out. But the Thursday kept going, and I'm like, this is kind of weird. So I just like sat there, and
Yes.
I think I got a text from you saying, have you left yet? And I said, no. You said, I don't think there's any tickets left.
Well, I didn't know why you hadn't left yet. And you were like, I'm still in the queue for Thursday. And I'm like, if there's no tickets for Saturday and there's no tickets for Friday, like, how are there going to be tickets for Thursday night? But it actually makes sense that there probably was tickets because it was so last minute. So that weeded out a bunch of people who wouldn't be able to drive into Toronto in time to see her. It was smart, and you were very patient waiting for that queue.
Yeah, and the crazy part is I waited, I think, an hour and 20 minutes for this queue. So you were probably right. Like, there might not have been tickets, but I'm like, what if there is? Like, if I
Right.
leave and, like, there's
There
a chance?
were.
Yeah,
That's so irritating. Again, another moral of the story is like if you are in Ticketmaster queue for this week, stay in the queue.
yeah, be
No matter
patient.
what, just stay in the queue so that you can and determine, see it with your own eyes that there are no tickets left, or that it gives you that glitch of like you can put tickets in your cart but they're no longer available. Just wait till you see that, no matter how long it takes, because you're in the queue and you got through the queue, and then
Yeah.
explain the process of what happened when you got through the queue.
Well, honestly, it was like I was shanicking, which is like panicking and shitting my pants. And I didn't know what to do. I just clicked on the first ones, but there were so many. I'd never seen that many like tickets. So I just clicked on the first one, went through to the cart. That hadn't happened because earlier in the day I actually got through again, and it's like your account can't buy tickets. It was like an error message. And so I got it. I pressed it. They're in the cart. I'm like, this is going to come up and say they're gone. All of a sudden, it just like went through. And this is the only time I didn't film myself because, like, I mean, it's content. I don't know why I didn't film myself this time. And
Right.
all of a sudden, it said, you got them. And I'm like,
Were we on FaceTime at this point?
no, I picked up my phone. I called you. I said, we got to go. And you're like, why? I'm like, I just got Taylor Swift tickets. And you're like, no, you didn't. And you ran downstairs.
Well,
I'm like,
because I couldn't believe it. I
well,
could
neither
not
could
believe
I.
it. We have not had a chance to like really rehash the you
Unpack.
buying the actual ticket process, but I didn't know that there were like a lot of them available. I thought you had to do
Oh,
that glitch thingy where you were toggling and then they came through.
no, this was just straight up tickets right there. And I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
I didn't see the price. I didn't see how many I bought. I
Right.
just clicked, boom, cart, you got them. And
Right.
then I saw the date. Well, I knew the date, but like I also kind of forgot what day it was. And I called you. I'm like, we gotta go. And this was
Right.
5:22 p.m. The concert starts at 6:45. We're in
Right.
Peterborough, and that's an hour and
Yeah.
30 minutes, maybe 2 hours on a good day sometimes.
So I ran downstairs and we were looking at them, and you're like, shit, it's technically an obstructed view. So that's why we did not move quickly or as quickly as we did. We did move fairly quickly, but not as quick as we could have because we're like, crap, like, are we going to be behind the stage? Because that's another thing. If we're spending a chunk of change, I'm sorry, but personally, I don't want to be behind the stage to not even see Taylor Swift,
Yeah,
right?
because they
Like,
were like $600 a piece. I saw after like it went through.
yes, which is also extremely cheap considering again how much people are spending on these tickets. We were trying to pull I think I pulled up StubHub. I tried to like pull up the map and for whatever reason we didn't think to like open up Ticketmaster to the actual map view because I think we were so frazzled. We were like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
like chicken with our heads cut off. Like, what do we do?" You know what I mean? Like, oh my god, do we go? Do we not go? Do we resell the tickets? I think you said that. You were like, "Should I just sell these because they're obstructed?"
I think the other reason I was like thinking about selling them, we're in Peterborough right now. Like traffic could be so bad we wouldn't even like maybe even make it.
Exactly. And then we would have gone there like halfway through and it's like, is it worth it again to like miss half of the concert but still get to go? So we called Gil and I said to her, it says it's a partly obstructed view, but we've determined that it's in the lower bowl. So it's not behind the stage, but it says it's obstructed. And Jill's like, okay. In her show and as a part of the stage, she has 4 like pillars. They're not even called pillars because like they were more like to hang lights on because you could see through them. But they were really massive and tall and like they shot fireworks, they shot fire out of there, and then they also had like stage lighting on them. And there's 4 of them in the entire stage. And she's like, you're probably going to be somewhat behind one of those. She said, you'll still be able to see the stage. You'll still be able to see the screen. You'll still be able to see Taylor. There just might be some times where you are like she's behind it and you can't see it. And that was exactly it. There were like maybe 2 or 3 times when she performed part of a song there, but then she moved. She never did a full, actually, I think she did All Too Well there. But still, I made it work. I could still see her. For it being an obstructed view, they were like kick-ass tickets. But back to us being like, okay, well, we're gonna go. We had to shove shit into a bed. I have never hauled ass so fast in my life.
That's what you call fast?
Babe, I I was like, I also like had part of like, because I was still trying clothes on. I still had half of my shit on, half not. I was very frazzled. I had tried clothes on, and then I was like, oh, I don't like this outfit. And I was thinking, I'm going to wear what I want to wear to the concert once we get in the car, because there's no point in me like, what's the point of me bringing more shit just to like faff around in the car with? I want to change when we're at the house so that I'm good to go in the car. And all I have to do is my makeup.
But I'm just like, put on some clothes. If you got to bring more, just put them in the car. And you're like trying to pick out this outfit, and you picked one out. You're like, take these clothes outside and I'll bring them in the car. And I get a phone call from you while I'm sitting in the car and said, where are my clothes? I come back in, you got pantyhose on, and I'm like, we got to go. Like, I don't care if you got to run outside naked here. Let's go.
Well, okay, so I tried on this outfit with the pantyhose and I did not like it. And all I kept thinking was like, why would I change in the car? Anyways, whatever. I was like, I need these shorts, and the shorts that I wanted were in the car. So I was like, bring them in for me. I changed. I got into the outfit that I wanted to change into. I didn't even pack a change of clothes. I literally just packed my makeup, my deodorant, and a hairbrush, I'm pretty sure. Like and edibles. Most randomest of things. Priorities, clearly. And then we got into the car and started driving. And the other thing I will say is, for how fast we got there in what, an hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah, so we got the tickets 5:22. We were on the road by 5:35. And the thing said, I think it said an hour and 28 minutes to get there. So, like, we were going to be missing Gracie, but, like,
right.
I was like, all right, 4:07 to DVP, let's go.
What I will say is we got there fairly quickly for how well we were sticking to the speed limit. Like I said to you, we are not allowed to speed like a demon because, one, the last thing I want us to do is put ourselves in danger or anyone else on the road in danger. And two, I don't want us to get pulled over by a cop for speeding and have that be the reason we're delayed. Like, I would be so mad. We were so close to getting there and we just had to go a little bit faster just to get stopped by a cop. That would have pissed me off so much. Yeah. So the 407 was a good choice. But again, this ties into like how everything went so perfectly. Like, we got there in an hour and 20 minutes, and we can never, when we go for events or just normally to Toronto, we can never get into Toronto in an hour and 20 minutes. It's always 2 hours, if that, more than that. As we were on our way, we also needed to figure out a parking spot because we were determining, should we park around the stadium or should we park further up and then take TTC down? Like, what would be the best course of action? And then we were also considering, would it be worth it to find somewhere to stay? Like, if we wanted to get hotel accommodations or if there's someone who is gracious enough to let us spend the night. Because that's the other thing. I want you to enjoy it. Like, the whole reason we're going is for you. God forbid we have to drive home the same night, fine. But like, if we can make it work where you can have the time of your life, have a drink, relax, unwind, and not have to rush to get home afterwards, let's do it. So for the parking, you had read that on Ticketmaster that there's something called Spot Hero, which is a parking app that covers all of Toronto and lets you know where there are vacant parking lots and vacant parking spots, which was a lifesaver.
And the distance to the event from that spot.
Yes, which I think is also important. So we found a spot that was I think 15 minutes max walking distance, which I don't even think that would have been accurate. I think we could have walked that and gotten there faster. So take that with a grain of salt. You can get there faster probably, but it's at 15 minutes. So we pull up to the parking lot. We had already purchased the pass. The only thing is that like you have a spot in the parking lot, but it doesn't like reserve a specific space for you. You obviously have to go in and find a vacant space within the parking lot. So we pull in and I'm like, oh my God, we're probably gonna have to drive down 3 floors to even get a spot. So we're pulling in, and as we pulled in, we had said, I'll call an Uber for us so that it's waiting when we come back up so that we can get an Uber to the stadium because it was a 15-minute walk again. So we wanted to get there as fast as we could because I think this was like 6:50 at this point. The concert was starting at 7. So we're driving into the parking lot, going into the underground parking, and I remember being on Uber, and I'm starting to lose service, and I'm like, fuck, like I'm not going to be able to order this Uber until we get back upstairs. So we're driving in and it's a one-way parking lot. And I'm like, baby, you have to go to the right. And we look to the left and there's this parking spot available, just one. And I'm like, are you shitting me? And so, of course, we like kind of make an illegal move and we go to the left and we pull into that spot and we park and we're up back onto the floor level within like 5 minutes of getting to the parking lot. Again, like, how is this working? This is like perfect case scenario. But we're walking back upstairs to the floor level and I say, oh, I got to order this Uber because I don't think it went through because I lost service. We get up, we get outside. Uber's there waiting for us. Bing, bang, boom. First case scenario, parking spot and an Uber waiting for us. We're not having to wait for them. Gorgeous. Okay, so we hop in the Uber and then I literally think, babe, we went like 2 blocks. Like, I don't even think we were in there for 5 minutes.
And the way that it was taking us, it was going to take us all the way around. And I'm like, sir, take this next turn up here. It's going to take us right to the stadium.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, I promise. And he drove us up and we were right there.
So we got out, I think, of our 3-minute Uber journey. We could have run that for sure, but whatever. It was good that we got an extra. Yeah, it was raining, so we got an extra boost. So we're walking up. It's like 7 o'clock on the dot, I think. There's no lineup, but that is so. The one thing about the ticket and what you said, love, is that the ticket says it starts at 7, but Gracie goes on at 6:45. So that's another thing, which I'm sure everyone who has tickets knows that. But let's say you get last minute tickets, just be mindful that if you want to see Gracie, she goes on at 6:45. So we get in, she's playing, which is fine. It literally also takes us like no time to get in. But that I think is because the concert had already started. But I've also seen people on TikTok say it doesn't take too long to get in once things get moving.
No, but it's still like 3 hours before.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
So we get in and then we're trying to find our section. And we actually went into the right gate, which was another time
It was like
saver.
right there when we walked out.
Yeah, which is another thing of like, how is this working? We're at the perfect gate. So we walk in, we're trying to find our section. We find the section. And then that was the other thing about our tickets is we were in section 111, but it had a W in front of it. And of course, we didn't think about what that meant beforehand. We were just like, hey, let's just go. So then when we get there, we're like, oh, no, the wheelchair accessible area, which we're like, that's fine, but we want to dance, we want to have a good time, and we don't want to be in the way of people who like can't physically stand up or like we could like obstruct their view.
Yeah, I was like, I feel so bad, like we took this spot away from somebody, like
exactly.
Because I didn't know, like I just panic bought them, and it didn't say anything, but the W gave me like, oh, that's where that is, and
yeah.
So you were just like, ask the usher to see if these are our seats.
Right. And what I would have assumed is that like people who could stand in that area would be like behind anyone who was in a wheelchair. I was like, let's just ask to make sure that we're doing this properly and that we're not going to be in anyone's way. So we asked the usher and she's like, oh no, like you're actually down here. And like anytime someone says, oh no, you're down here, that's like a good thing to hear. We're like, okay. She walks us all the way down the section to the bottom, like to the floor access. And it's like, you're down here. So our section was at the bottom of the section on the floor where there was more wheelchair accessible access. And we're like, okay. Again, like perfect situation happening to us. We're like, how is this even possible? So she gets us seated and we're chatting with other people in that section. And something to note is that everyone in our section got tickets 2 hours before the show. So we were like talking about how crazy it was, how we're here looking at our seats. Our seats were incredible. Like they were so close to the stage. The pillar that we were concerned about was not an issue. You could see through it partially. Like it was not a big deal. And we were kind of like being like, oh my God, we almost gave these tickets away. Like how silly of us if we had done that.
I was going to sell them for face value. But yeah. Because I want people to go.
So then the usher comes over to us and she's like, actually, can I take a look at your ticket again? So she takes a look and she has a few other people with her. And we're like, oh God, we're in the wrong seats. Like we're not in the right section. And she's like, no, you're not at the back here. You're at the front of this section. And we're like, are you like, I feel like we're getting punked. Like this is too good to be true. So we're like, okay. So we go to the front of that section, and then it was even more perfect because we were on the floor, but we were at the side of the floor, and on the other side of the barrier was like the guy selling drinks who was also not in the way of us, like which was chef's kiss. But also there was a massive walkway where the guy was selling drinks. So there was this big space of where the next section of people were. So no one was in front of us. So we had this whole empty space to see the stage and not have people's heads in front of us. It was like so incredible. So Gracie was playing, and that was the other thing is she played for a while when we were there. Like she had like at least 4 or 5 more songs.
Yeah, so we still made it and saw her in time, which is crazy for being in Peterborough.
So I said, I'll go to the bathroom. I had to go pee or just made sure before Taylor comes on. And then I was like, I'll go grab us some drinks. So Brendan stayed, watched Gracie. I went back up the section, which was also a bit of a hike. Those stairs are hard to maneuver because it's like you take 2 steps and then you go up the next step. It's just like really difficult to get up them. But we got there. And then first thing I do is find a bathroom. It's right in front of me and there's no line. And now with the Rogers Center, there's like 2 ways to enter one of the bathrooms. So like I thought maybe I had gone in the exit, but no people were even coming out of it. So I go in and it's empty. And I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Like, is this not meant for like people who are going to the concert? Maybe it's for staff. I have no idea. But this other woman was looking like kind of like, what the hell is going on too? And I was like, was there a line on your side? She's like, no, like this is just open. I'm like, this is too good to be true. There has never been a concert where I have not had to, as a woman, have not had to line up. Must be nice for you, Bren, because you go to a lot of more women geared concerts where you just stroll into the bathroom and you're fine.
But when I go to sports events, guys.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's tough. So I get in there, I do my business, and I get out. And then I'm like, hey, I need to get drinks next. So then I go around. The drink station is right beside the bathroom. Again, perfect situation. There's a lineup for food, and I wasn't getting us food. All I wanted was to get a few drinks. And so on the other side of the line of food, there was just this woman who was doing the till as well as had a lineup of drinks. I was like, hey, like, could I just grab a few drinks? Like, I'm not getting any food. She's like, yeah, for sure. Come on, let me help you. I'm like, amazing. So we missed a part. I'll tell the rest of this, but we missed a part about accommodations.
Okay.
So I'm like, why would you be drinking if we hadn't figured out where you were staying? But whatever. Let me just wrap this up. So I get the drinks, have gone pee, everything, go back to the seats, watch the rest of Gracie's set. So I think that all happened within a matter of 20 minutes, which is like crazy. So let's go back to the accommodation. So as we figured out the parking, I also messaged my friend Chris, who does a lot of work outside of Toronto. He lives in Toronto, but is traveling for work constantly. And I said to him, are you in Toronto? And he's like, funnily enough, I'm actually just leaving. I'm heading out for another work trip. I'm like, you're kidding. He's like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, we just got last minute Eras tour tickets. Can we stay at your house? He's like, of course you can. Like, again, perfect situation. I can't write this any better. We had parking, and then we had a place to stay for the night. So that is why when we got to the show, I bought us both drinks because we were ready to have a good freaking time.
Yes, we definitely were. And I think the whole craziest part about this is Thursday at that time, the week before, we were sitting at dinner after a funeral, and you said, I want to be spontaneous. And I'm like, I don't know, like, I was not feeling at best after a funeral, because, like, I don't know.
It's true.
Who does? So I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And, like, a week later, at that exact same time,
It's
like,
true, babe.
all of this just became spontaneous.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. This was literally a week later.
Yeah, crazy, right?
That night, Thursday night, was the most spontaneous I've ever been in my life. And it was worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah, I like when you don't go with the flow. I like it.
Well, it's really hard for me to not go with the flow, but Thursday night was a lot of fun. Back to the show. So Gracie finishes. I think there's like 20 minutes in between. Crowd's pumping. We're jamming. They play Gaga. I'm just freaking ready to go. And then the show starts. And I don't even know how to explain it. The entire show was so good. The costumes, the vocals, the dancers, the special effects, the screen, the views, the fans, the songs. It was all like chef's kiss.
It was. And honestly, like for me, like somebody was like, what's your favorite part? But like because it was so like spontaneous, so rushed, like everything just feels like a blur, but I had so much fun.
Right. But okay, so it felt like a blur, but I also remember like really trying to soak it all in.
Yeah.
Like I do remember it fairly well, but you're right. It was just like, I think we were just in shock that we even were there. Could not believe it.
Yeah, I can still like feel it when she came out and yelled Toronto, and she gave like a real Toronto, not Toronto. Like,
yeah,
I can still hear that in my mind, which is crazy.
Right. Yeah. If you had to pick your favorite song, that she performed, what would it be?
This is tough because like she starts out with Miss Americana and the heart
That
like
was really
that,
good.
so good. But then it goes into Cruel Summer, and that bridge, like screaming that bridge with you, is just like amazing because like that's one of my favorite all-time like
Right.
parts. But
Yeah.
like I don't know, like I feel like I can't tell you what my like they were all so good.
For me, I feel like all too well seeing that live, the 10-minute
Oh
version,
yeah, that was
that
pretty good.
definitely healed something deep within me. That was just so good. But
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. The Reputation era was good. I think that
it
was probably one of my favorite eras, like to see
yeah
performed.
yeah no Rep era was so good. Bad Blood was pretty good.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, that'd be sweet if Kendrick came out though during it.
Or like Blank Space. That was a good one
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
They're all so good.
And to finish with Karma,
I know.
so
That
good.
was so good.
She sang a lot of songs from the Folklore Evermore era.
Yeah, that was tough for me because I was never a Folklore Evermore girly, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, you went to the concert and you're not even a Folklore Evermore girly." I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I take it back. My favorite song was Fearless because that just makes, and this is why I'm not a Folklore Evermore girly because I'm a Fearless girly through and through. It reminds me of like grade 9, grade 10, high school." With all my
Yeah,
girlfriends, and my one friend played the guitar, and we would play it constantly in like our houses, like when after school, lunch breaks, whatever. And I just think of that, and that makes me super nostalgic. And I
yeah,
really loved that era.
yeah. I liked it. It's also like a hard time in my life, so like I was like alone, and like that came out, so I was just like, oh, that was kind
Yeah.
of cool. But like, yeah, she was like, this kind of set feels like it's made for Toronto,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which I think like Midnight's, I really like the Midnight set. That's when we first started dating and we were in Ottawa and it came out and I was
Mm-hmm.
training for my last marathon and it came
Yeah.
out and I had a 36K long run. I'm like, how many times can I listen to Midnight's in one run?
Right. That's
So,
craziness.
yeah.
I remember that. And I feel like even though like the Folklore Evermore eras were a little bit slower, like they were still electric. And
Yeah.
like the cabin and the costume and like it was still beautiful. And I did love it.
Yeah. No, no, it was good.
Very
Uh,
ethereal.
yeah, and it was like visually stunning, like her laying there on like the side of the house on
Yeah,
top
that
and
was
like doing the
cool.
piano. So I
Totally.
like that. I think it was all like really well done. And I think that's
Hmm.
the point of it because like that's why people are paying this type of money to get there because
Yeah.
it I looked it up how many songs it was. It was 45 songs.
Yeah, that's a
That's
lot.
crazy.
Well, she played for like 3.5 hours,
3.5 hours.
3 hours. Yeah. Like, and technically no breaks. Like, all she did was costume changes, but she's still hustling backstage or under the stage to do that.
The dive?
Yeah. I was gonna say Justice for Speak Now, because all
Yeah.
she did was Enchanted. And that's my favorite song, probably off of Speak Now, but like, we need the others.
I know.
I know she did Mine, right?
The next night.
The next night. But like, we need like Hours. That was such a good song.
I need some more like just original heat, like Teardrops on My Guitar, Tim McGraw. Like when I saw
From
her in
our
2000,
song?
yeah, when I saw her in
Yeah.
2006.
I would love to know like the process of how like process of elimination of how she picked all those songs like from each era.
Yeah, no. Maybe it's like how we choose our dinners together when we can't choose, and like we put all the places we want, and just like
In the
process of
wheel?
elimination on the spinny wheel.
Yeah, that's too funny.
We also forgot we had the 22 kid in our section. He got picked
Oh my
from our
God,
section.
yeah, we forgot that. Okay.
He was picked from our section and he came back
Yeah,
like after that happened, like he was on such a high and he's just dancing
so
around with the hat. He was
cute.
so cute. Like he was definitely deserving of it, I found.
Yeah, that was really sweet. Because it was quieter. Because after 22, what did she go into? Something quieter.
Speak now.
Yes, it was Enchanted. So it was a little
Hmm.
bit quieter. All of a sudden, there's like this massive roar behind us, and everyone's like cheering on the 22 kid. That's what I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
was like, why is everyone like getting so loud when we're doing like Enchanted? But that makes sense. That
Yeah,
was
so
really sweet to watch.
that was really cool.
Then the show wrapped up. Like the show and everything was so great. But I hate that artists don't do encores anymore. I understand like ever since COVID, like that's not been a thing. But like I love the rush of like okay, this is the last song, and then like
Everybody's
you ride the
cheering.
low of like, okay, the show's done, but then they come out for one more song.
Yeah, and everybody's chanting like Taylor. Like that's I miss
Yeah.
that. I miss that. But I think like the funniest part of when it ended is like all the confetti coming down and like there was people that didn't get any because it didn't land to them and I had hopped over and started picking up and handing it out to people and I almost got kicked out. I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
was like yeah, I mean it
you were
wasn't
leaving
a
anyways. They weren't
yeah.
even that mean. They were just like, sir, you can't be there.
Yeah, but like I was handing it out to like kids that really wanted it and like
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah,
Like
that was a good time.
to see like their faces because like they can take that home and just like
Right.
they're like this is from Taylor Swift.
Totally, totally. So we got out of the stadium and then we went to see our friends because they also got last minute tickets.
Danica in sales.
Yes. Yeah, so my friend Danica, like I said, we met up with her, and as she was waiting for us, the Globe and Mail reporter came up to her and was like, "Did you have a great night?" And didn't really introduce himself at first, so she was like, "Who is this random man coming up to me and asking me these weird questions? Like, yeah, I had a great time, but I'm not going to talk to you." And then he's like, "I'm a reporter, would love to get your feedback on like tonight's show." And she's like, "Oh my God, of course." So yeah, if you go to the Globe and Mail and read about Taylor Swift, you'll read about my friend Danica, who's in sales, because it has to put like their job title, which is so funny. But yeah, so we met up with them for a quick sec just to see them, and then my feet were killing me. Like they were so sore,
They were.
rightfully so. So you carried me, which was so nice.
Yeah, I put you in my arms like this, and
So
like
embarrassing.
you're pretty buzzing. You're on a high after that. You've had a lot of fun, and you're like my feet hurt, so I could have just gave you my shoes, but like I picked you up and just like carried you like this, and I didn't realize, but there was a photographer right there, and he's like, "Can you stop and take a photo?" So I have you, and you're just
He's asked us to stop.
like kinda, not really, but
Bran, you didn't tell me that. That's so embarrassing and cringe.
I haven't seen the photo yet.
Probably wasn't good. They probably didn't publish it.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, I don't blame them. That's too funny. So, yes, we had to cross over the bridge and like we're trying to find an Uber, but like it's madness. It's even more chaotic than it was in the venue. So, I said let me get a hot dog cuz I was starving too. So, I had a hot dog, got a really bad case of the hiccups, like an aggressive case of the hiccups. I could not like hold my breath for like more than 5 seconds. It was really bad. And then we determined let's go and grab a bite to eat somewhere actually to sit down, get a little nightcap before we go to my friend's house so that we can crash for the night. And that was pretty much the night. Like after we got drinks and we got food, we got back to the place and I don't really remember anything except having a piece of pizza from the restaurant that we brought home and then like
yeah.
crashing.
You were like, I can't eat this right now. Can you please get it to go? We had just got it. I'm like, I'm so hungry.
I was so tired.
Yeah,
So
I mean it
tired.
was like 1:30 in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
but like the food was so good at this place we went to. I have no idea where we went to. I don't even think it was like marked restaurant. Like it was just like,
Okay, it was kind of weird. So like the restaurant was right across from the venue, but it had like pretty good Italian food. Like I know we got the calamari there, and it was
oh my,
piping hot and
so good.
sizzling. It was really like lightly deep fried, really good. But the drinks were kind of a miss. Like I got a
The-
marg, and they used mix for it. Which if you're gonna do a marg, you got to do it with proper lime juice.
And I got an old fashioned, and it was like drinking paint thinner. I was like, oh my God, this is tearing my insides apart. I'm like, this is not an
Yeah,
old fashioned.
not good, not good.
No, but
But the
food was
food was
good.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a good spot to just like stop for like a
Yeah.
minute to rest your feet and just
And at that
chill.
point, we didn't need a drink anyways.
No, for sure. Definitely not. But yeah, so then we got home, crashed, and then the next morning just like relived the
Right.
gloriousness of what that was. But I just cannot believe that everything worked out so perfectly.
And I think we forgot to circle back to like we went with no bracelets either, and like people were so welcoming and gave us so many bracelets. My friend Kate, she gave us a ton. And
Yeah.
then like the people beside us when we had zero to start, they were like, "This is what it's all about. Like we want to
Yeah.
give you your first one." And then like from there, we just got so many, and it was so nice.
That was really cute. Like all around, just the best, most spontaneous, most fun, exhilarating evening that we could have ever done, and just so grateful that we got to go and we somehow were able to pull it off, and that the universe was on our side.
And I think that's how it was meant to be. Because like, especially after the last month we had, like,
Totally.
it wasn't the best. And
like, we had a lot of karma in our bank that we needed to be repaid on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was our boyfriend then.
Yeah. Karma was definitely our boyfriend that night. To anyone who's going this week, to anyone who's still trying to get tickets, don't lose hope. Keep the faith. If you want to go, I know people who were also trying to get tickets and they got them this past weekend too for this next week. Like, it's possible.
I also posted a short form video where there's more tips on there. So if you want to go.
Yeah. I think the main thing is stay in the queue, stick to one device, don't lose hope. Keep at it, and then last ditch effort. And if you have the budget to do so, look at the resale sites, because those ticket prices also drop right before the show.
Yeah.
Just keep trying, as well as there's a lot of giveaways going on.
There is, yeah. Yeah, there's still chances. Like, I don't want people to like give up hope, or like, I think even if you do get into the queue late, there's still a chance. Like,
right.
I didn't think it was possible with the number I got in on for the Thursday night at 4:00, like that I would get any tickets. So it's like, it's
possible.
I would say grab an outfit out just in case and just have it there.
Do some pre-planning, but that is also manifestation in and of itself. Do whatever you can to envision or believe that you're going to the concert. Make the friendship bracelets. Take the moment and taste it. But do the things that make you believe you're going, because that will help further your manifestations. Yeah, I love it. But we love you all. Thank you so much for listening to Nobody Knows podcast. This is just going to be us today talking. I was going to do another segment for this episode, but it's so long. And it should just be dedicated to Taylor and our experience at the Eras Tour. If you have any further questions, you could reach out on socials, so at Nobody Knows podcast on Instagram. TikTok's a little bit harder, so I won't promote that. But Bren, what is your Instagram so people can follow you? My Instagram and TikTok is the exact same. It's BreCarpeRuns, BreCarpeRuns. But I would like to say thank you for having me on, babe. Really appreciate it. I would not like to go between episode 40 and episode 6 again. It's been a while since I've been on. So I would like to jump on anytime. Okay. Well, we'll listen to what the community wants. If they want you on again, then we'll have you on. Okay? Yeah, I would. But yes, I do want to wrap this up by saying this would not be possible without you, Bren. You believed, you achieved, you did not give up hope, you did not give up faith, and that's the reason why we got to go to the Eras Tour. So thank you. What does your rest say? Keep the faith. Yeah. And we kept it. I love it. I had a great night with you.